Alright, in this video I'm going to break down this Vados build that I played. I took this to the Dabbers 2K in Atlanta. It went 2-2 in a draw. It actually had a really good matchup versus U6, and the deck actually is fairly decent for anti-meta. I'm going to break it down. Vados leader, swings on active, awakens, attacks, draws a card. Like I said, it goes to 20k base. Really solid. I started out running the Zeno chain. The 3-4-4. And like versus Shenron, I would go for the cycle to start with. Like it's such a good play on turn 3 versus Shenron. It just like completely destroys them. This was the interesting card. Played 2 forcing hits, rarely used them. But like right before the tournament, I was going to side in the 6 drops. Ended up not playing them, but this is still a solid red card. So 2 hit. This is my money maker. This is where I went for so many games because it's got deflect. So it's really solid. It stays on board. And then like if someone's at 3 life, swing goes to 30 pluses. And then go in and then like chomp onto it. So it's like a really good dual attack. I like it a lot. 3 pseudo combos. Would have run forward, but like it's a such crazy combo. So like I didn't necessarily need it. 1 Fearless Pan, super clutch. Running 2 Gohan for the fact I run Zeno Chain. Like I said, here are the Supreme Kais. Like I said, I ran 2. Probably would bump that to 3. That's the only thing I kind of regret. But here's the star of the deck right here. I mean, I took this to like a pro circuit, and it held up so well only because of this card. I got really lucky with like the draw, like because I got this like almost every game. But the key was going first. Because going first, I was able to get this out before anyone could deny it. So on every game I went first, this was likely what was coming out. And it just opened up the nuts. So like I said, 4 of those, that is like the go-to. You have to have it. And then 2 Bulma. I ended up siding 1 or 2 of her out almost every game. But Raditz, super solid 1-drop to keep the cycle going, get some draws. Denial of Hope, star of the deck. Such a good clutch card. This is the key versus like U6 and so many decks right here. There were times I had 2 of these in hand with like a huge fucking hand of cards and like just pitching off 1 useless red, taking out 2. So you're really you're negating something swinging at you, you minus 2 others, and then God forbid they swing 1 of those, you're knocking out 3 to 4 cards if you're lucky. That was a game winner multiple times. After Image, I'm main decking 3. Again, so clutch versus U6. The deck was so consistent just because of all the counters. This super combo is so amazing in this deck. Like, it's just crazy. Only problem is with this deck, I awaken so early, sometimes I wasn't able to actually use these. That's how good this deck is. I can awaken with 8 cards in my life, So some of those went down in energy for sure, especially the Janemba matchup, those went in energy. And here's the key right here. I'm running 1 of this, and it was so crazy how much value this got. I probably should have had it too, but I kept seeing it almost every game. You're drawing 1 off of it. It's giving you a 15K, and it's giving your leader 5K for the turn. So like I'd play it, draw 1 card, swing with leader, 25k base, draw another card. I was plussing 2 cards and then swinging 25k at something, and it went through every time. Like, it's so crazy with this leader, no one out combos anything. Because, like, the amount of value you'll lose trying to save 1 card is just insane. So, especially, like, with this swing on U6 cards, it's a 20k on 4. So, no one's going to fucking out combo that. 1 Scientist Fu. And this was like my game winner most games. Like this 7-drop Mira, just a single strike is like so bad, like so clutch. But the fact I could double strike it, I always saved it for it. And the crazy part about this deck, this is why I ran so few of these like really clutch overown cards. Like on turn 4 or 5, depending on which turn I wanted to like press and still kind of hold for game. Some people might think it's dumb, but I would pay 1, play the Fu. And my hand was fairly low at this point, but I still had Zeno Chain. So what I would do is play this, swing, draw 2, and on the side just Fu, I got value. And I got a double strike. So either combo out or a lot of people took it. Then I would Zeno chain to shovel this back into the deck. The same thing goes for this. The same thing goes for this. Like, so all of my overwhelm cards, I was running technically 2+ copies just because Zeno was so clutch. This deck probably does have the worst matchup against Janemba, honestly, but that's where the side comes in. So this is the side. I put in one unexpected turn. That came in every game versus U6 Kaba. So did the 4th After Image, and so did the M2. It was these 3 in for 1 Kefla, 1 Bulma, and like one other like just basic card. So those were 3 super clutch cards that came in like every game. 2 TNs versus Janemba matchup. I mean, goes without saying, Janemba is like one of the grossest decks in the format right now. When I went to Atlanta, I'd like to say maybe 15 to 20% of the field was Janemba. I was lucky enough not to see it. This deck went 0-2 versus Toa. Toa was the only thing that beat this deck, and I actually drew bad on those games. But yeah, went 0-2 to start with versus 2 Toa players. But after the Toa matchup, I won 2 and got a draw versus U6. So I technically went 2 wins, 1 draw at the second half of the tournament, so it finished really strong. 2 Harus, never really came into the game. This I put in versus Shenron, helped me awaken a little faster, possibly take some cards out of the hand. This was the key right here. Put in Desperate Measures. This was so good versus Janemba. And then Beans. So I would, versus Janemba, I would put in this cycle, and I run the Zeno, which is a 7-drop, and I probably wouldn't be using Zeno at all versus Janemba, if not one, none. So I put a Zeno in energy, and that would be enough energy for the whole fucking game. So like all the beans are live, offensive and defensive, and then like defensively, if they would like counterplay with like a Vegeta the Cruel, this was such a smart idea one of my friends came up with. If they Vegeta the Cruel, you just pay 1 blue, like so easy to be like, I will not allow that to be played because it goes from a 3-drop, it's a 2 cost. So it counts as a 2 cost. There was some debate over it, but it works. So they play the Vegeta the Cruel, you bounce it right back to their hand, and you're not going to lose field presence. It's so crazy. But yeah, this deck worked really, really well. I'm very surprised that I've never seen anyone play the Vados, but it's actually not that bad. I finished 20th out of 36 players, so not great, but I finished with 7 points. And if it wasn't for the 2 Toa matchups, I feel like it would have done a lot better. But yeah, I just wanted to actually do the deck profile. Yeah, it was played by Breck Mullins, played from the Mississippi circuit, and just wanted to kind of show off a little bit. I'm really proud of this deck, and I'm like the only one playing it right now. But don't know if I'll be playing it, you know, in the Ohio qualifier. But it's a really good, solid deck. It's fun to play around with. I just wanted to share it. So yeah, all the DBS players out there, don't give up. Don't let Janemba get you down. Don't get sore on the current meta. There are anti-meta decks. Probably going to play Pan in Ohio, but yep. Have a good one, everybody.